Welcome to the U18 Curling Championships here at the Potomac Curling Club. We are getting ready for the first draw on Friday. This is the third draw overall. This game is featuring the Tschumakov rink throwing red versus the Dutt rink throwing yellow. Both teams have, let's see, Susan Dutt's rink has 1 win and 1 loss thus far, and Nadia Tschumakov's team has 1 loss thus far. So here we are approaching each of their second games in draw 3. My name is F.L. Etlin. I'm one of the members of the Potomac Curling Club and a volunteer here this morning. I've got the ever helpful Ben on cameras, and he may occasionally say hello.
Good morning, FL.
Good morning. Thank you for joining me.
It is a brisk morning here.
It is.
I think the ice shed is pretty chilly, so we should see some good quick ice in the beginning, and maybe we'll see the pebble break down a little bit towards the end because it's so cold in there.
Indeed. Well, when that happens, the ice may start swinging more. That tends to happen here at Potomac. The ice tends to get a little bit more curl as the game goes on. We'll see if ice conditions remain true to its typical. So you can see the teams are all sliding out. They've got their slide time here to just kind of stretch out that last little bit. They've already each had a 10-minute practice period, and they've each drawn to the button after their practice and had it measured to determine the advantage of hammer in this game. And I believe that red has the hammer on this sheet. So Team Dutt will be leading off, throwing the first rock of this end. They're waiting for the signal from the officials that they may begin. These are timed games, so we do have timers here in the warm room. They're concentrating hard on their games. And long about 4 or 5 years ago, we switched to thinking time, so the clock is not running at this moment while the rock is in motion, but instead, after the rock has come to rest and a few other things have happened, they will start the clock on the red team. That team will have their clock run while they mull over their shot, and as soon as they start to throw their rock, at a particular moment as the rock crosses, I don't recall which line, probably the back line or something, maybe the tee, I don't remember, then the clock will stop. And again, the clock will not be running while the rocks are in motion. So that first rock was a draw right into the house. Our second rock is away. Wasting no time in removing that yellow rock. And their shooter also rolls out. So the lead on Team Dutt is Sydney. And I'm going to mangle a couple names. I apologize, but this is Sydney Mullaney on Team Dutt, throwing the second yellow rock of this end, the first end. Welcome again for those that are just tuning in as they saw the, hey, we're live here at the U18s from the Potomac Curling Club. The lead on Team Tschumakov is Alina. And she's throwing the second rock of their end here. Sydney threw a nice center line guard with her first or second stone of the end. And this red rock's going just a little deeper than they had in mind. The ice might be picking up rock to rock at this point. She threw just a little deep. It slid past the back line. Now the seconds are up. The second on Team Dutt is Anna. She's been curling for 11 years and is currently 16 years old. So she's been curling since she was 5. And her first rock repositioned those guards. Now they've got 2 corner guards instead of 1 center line guard. One's pretty close to the center. And the second is Chloe York. This is on Team Tschumakov. So Chloe has delivered her stone. Chloe is 15 years old. It's rather early this morning, so pardon me while I crack my energy drink in the background. But I'm not going to name any brand names because they're not one of our sponsors here at Potomac.
I think we'd be happy to have them sponsor us, though.
Oh, that's true. If Mountain Dew wants to sponsor us, we could certainly do some kickstart hydrating boost sponsorships from them. So Mountain Dew, come on.
Mountain Dew, if you're listening, just send us a box.
That would do.
And we'll make sure the volunteers are taken care of.
Indeed. I do order that stuff by the case, so please. Okay, this rock has a little bit of moxie on it. They are obviously going for a hit. It's looking pretty straight on to, yep. Okay, so they ran back a guard and then almost did a double takeout in the back with that. That was pretty good. So the run back rock left and the shooter stayed as a guard, and the other rock rolled way off to the right, just barely hanging onto the ring. So that was a pretty good result.
Yeah, I think she'll be happy with that.
Yeah. This is the first vice rock for Team Dutt. This is Rebecca Dutt throwing the vice rocks. She is 17 years old and has been curling for 9 years. We're going to try to keep an eye on the live chat in the YouTube feed. If anybody's out there, feel free to say hello and ask us any questions. At the moment, I believe that the room is rather empty, but that's okay. These are being recorded for posterity's sake, so I'm going to keep on talking, and maybe somebody will join me.
I'm sure the audience just needs to finish their energy drinks.
Understandable. The vice on Team Tschumakov is Liz. Liz has been curling for 10 years. And she curls out of Nashua Country Club. The second vice stone for Team Dutt away now. You can hear some of the ambient noise out there on the shed. So that yellow rock is beautifully placed just in front of the tee. Unfortunately, it is pretty wide open. I don't think it's well hidden at all by that guard. It just didn't tuck in quite as much as they would have liked. So Liz is going to throw her second vice rock here for Team Tschumakov, and her rock is away. The sweepers are at the ready, but not yet been called into service. They're on. They certainly have the hit. The question is, will they also get the flop behind cover? I think so. It's looking pretty good. Oh, wait, roll a bit too much? It did roll just a bit too much. It's actually kind of open between the two guards. All right, so we are getting ready for our skip stone in this, our first end here in draw 3.
I think we're going to have a bit of a technical timeout on this one. I think we're waiting for the clock to get repaired.
The clock is frozen. So the officials are Johnny on the spot, so to speak. Actually, Alan on the spot is the deputy chief umpire who's working on the case with our timer. And the deputy and the chief umpire is out on the ice managing the situation in person.
Chief umpire's name for this event is Tom Oriens. He's running a really clean show here. He's done an impressive job with the crew of volunteers and officials.
It is a tough job. I don't envy him his job. Good man. So we're in a bit of a technical timeout. The athletes are looking at the clock, waiting for it to get repaired. I suppose Tom might go to the backup plan of stopwatches if necessary. It's not really affecting anything except the ice conditions by sitting here, and the athletes, of course, getting a little chilled. They would prefer to keep playing, I'm quite sure. This pause does affect both teams simultaneously. It doesn't affect the time for strategy because they'd already decided on their shot. They're not changing anything. So it's really just an inconvenience while we fix the clocks. But they're almost there. They're doing a good job of getting it back up.
Yeah, this is one of the joys of playing at the playdowns level. I think that as you get experience, you learn to accommodate the technical difficulties that come along with sort of the more regulated game.
Okay, and they've gotten things back up and running. And now the skip for Team Dutt is Susan. I'm sorry, I called Rebecca Susan earlier, I think. Susan Dutt is the skip, and now she's got to get back in her proper mindset and throw the called shot, which I did mention that red rock is exposed between the two guards, and it looks like she's going to try to go right through that port and take it out. We'll see if she's able to make this shot, especially after sitting for a second. Her sweepers are on it right away. They're sweeping hard to hold this line, and they're doing a good job. I think they might be able to get through here. They're trying really hard, guys. Oh, nope, they're going to wreck. I think that might have been just a little bit downweight. They did get a lucky bump out of the, well, not lucky bump out for them. A yellow rock that was on the edge is no longer there. So at the moment, the only rock in the house is the red rock, which is pretty much on the button.
We like coming to here. We could come to here and come down to 1. And they have the tap for 2, but
We'll see what Tschumakov elects to do here. How deep she wants this rock.
So this is the skip, Nadia.
all right, let's go for the tap. Eddie, we're doing it.
She curls out of TCC, the country club. Her other sports are listed as sailing, soccer, and bear wrestling.
Bear wrestling?
That's what she says.
I wonder how you get into that.
I presume it's something to do with the country club, but good on her.
Do you think you have to buy the bear or they'll let you wrestle it?
Maybe. Maybe you can. Maybe it's like, you know. Oh, that is a lovely draw through the port right there. Whatever she does in the off time is working for her. She was able to curl into the top 8, curl behind cover. So although her shot rock is still exposed, her second shot is nicely buried. So she's sort of taunting Team Dutt to try to come through that port again, which is a little bigger because they did wick off the one guard.
Yeah, the port is a little bigger now, and I think that if Dutt hits this right and rolls underneath that top 8 rock that Nadia just threw.
She'll be well positioned. I find it interesting, they're coming the other direction, the other handle now. They know what the ice did on the other side. I'm surprised they're going to throw the other handle at this, although presumably they looked at this line during practice.
They might just like this bounce a little better than if you throw the intern at this, you get a little flatter bounce.
That's true. Less of a roll, more controllable. Let's see. So again, the sweepers are called on pretty quickly. They're sweeping hard. It is moving. I think they're going to wreck on that top yellow. Yeah, that moved a lot. Wow. Much more than they were expecting. So it looks like a pretty open draw for 3. This is the hammer that's about to come down for Team Tschumakov. I like their team attitude already. There's a lot of low fives and encouraging comments exchanged before shots. I know not every team's dynamic works for that, but I kind of like to see it when it happens. It's kind of the way I like to play, and it's the way I like to see the game played. Lots of positive reinforcement for everybody.
They were still going to take 2 anyway.
That's right. They look like they're in a good mood this morning after losing their first game. Come out ready to play. They look really sharp.
So the draws away. The sweepers are in position, but not inclined to touch anything. They're just going to let this roll, it looks like. And by roll, I mean slide, and by slide, we see if it stops. The opposing team is ready to play, but there's nothing they can do. It's a beautiful shot right to the button for 3. So that's 3 red, taking advantage of the hammer. And a couple of unfortunate attempts at hits through the port that didn't quite work out for Team Dutt in the first end. But Team Dutt now is going to have the hammer going into the second end. Of course, for those joining us who aren't as familiar with curling, the hammer is actually just the fancy word we use to indicate the last rock of the end. That's obviously an advantage. For the first end, they had, at the end of their practices, thrown a rock into the house, which is the target area, to see who could get closer between the 2 teams, and that team had the advantage of choosing the hammer, the last rock. Now going forward, any team that then scores, they will then have to shoot first, so the other team gets the advantage. That's why Team Dutt, shooting yellow, will be throwing second in the second end. We're on sheet B as in boy here at the Potomac Curling Club. Oh, it looks like we have a few people out here now, and indeed, we do have an audience. Thank you, Leslie. Okay, so the sweepers are holding up their hands. They don't want to touch this one. It's sliding pretty deep. And I suspect the ice is probably speeding up into the second end as the pebble gets a bit more use. The ice gets a little warmer out there. That rock went just a little deeper than they wanted. Just barely slid through.
We have some updates from the other sheets. On sheet D, Caleb Gartner gave up 2 with the hammer in the first end to Jackson Orsler Sharons. And on sheet C, Eli Clausen scored 3 in the first end with the hammer.
Thanks, Ben. All right, so Team Dutt is going to try to build some offense here. They're putting up a corner guard with their first shot. Beautifully done. And Nadia wastes no time. She calls for the draw into the house behind that corner guard. She's going to see if she can make some use of that. The lead is Alina, and she's sliding out and letting go of that stone right now. She's 14 years old and has been curling since she was 6. So if my math doesn't fail me at this hour, and it might, that would be 8 years. Again, this rock is sliding just a little bit deeper than they had in mind. The ice is presumably a little bit faster than it was in the first end for these leads. It's tough to throw lead because the ice condition changes so wildly between when you throw your first rocks and then when you get back up and throw your next set. I don't know, somehow for me, it doesn't seem as abrupt a change as a skip because you've already had, a bunch of people throw some rocks in that end, that first end, and then by the time you come up in the second, the change isn't as drastic.
Yeah, that's really the case, and especially on a morning like this where it's so cold in there. They're going to see the ice change rapidly as the body's going to warm up the air.
Absolutely. On the other hand, the lead for Team Dutt seems to have figured out her weight because those are some lovely guards she's put up. Well done.
Yeah, she nailed those. She probably got a good feel out of her skips rocks, or out of her basis rocks.
So that's Sydney is the lead on Team Dutt, throwing those beautiful guards this morning. Well done. All right, so Chloe has wasted no time taking advantage of the fact now they can remove those guards from play. We have a 4-guard free guard zone rule, so the 5th rock at the end, the first rock from the second, is the first thing that can remove a guard from play, at least the opponent's guard. So wasting no time, they took out one of those beautiful corner guards. They would have liked for their guard to roll out, or for their shooter to roll out, but it stuck around just way out on the wings.
Yeah, the ice is curly enough that I don't think that guard's going to come into much play.
No, I don't think so either. That other yellow guard is certainly a strong contender, and it looks like they're just going to go ahead and try to put another guard up, and they're going to do a nice job. Boy, that rock is finishing hard. Wow. That is some serious swing now.
It sure is.
That moved about 2 feet in the last 10 feet.
It is curling a lot on that line, but I think that one's tight enough she'll be able to use it later.
I agree. It's at a good spot. The skip for Team Tschumakov is wasting his time in trying to remove the other perfectly placed corner guard from Team Dutt. The sweepers are on it, holding it straight, and this time they were successful in rolling out, so they removed both the shooter and the guard. A well-executed shot there. Team Dutt, of course, wants those guards because you need rocks to score points.
It's 2 really good shots out of Chloe York.
Very much so.
We've got some more commenters in the chat. Good morning, Arlene, and good morning, Michael.
Oh, good morning, guys. Thank you.
Michael is the magic that makes all of this web streaming possible. So though he's thanking us, we
Thank
really
you.
owe it to him.
Oh, gosh, yes. And this is quite a fine webcasting setup we have here, so thank you very much, Michael Dobbs. He's left us cheat sheets, and any errors are ours and certainly not his, because he's given us all the tools. Nadia continues to chase Yellowstones out of here. I don't blame her one bit. She's already up 3. Now it's going to be a hit game for a while for her. Looks like this one might be moving a lot. They're holding it, though. Nice sweeping, ladies. They did just roll out. They would not have minded flopping behind cover there.
No,
but
that would have been really nice for them.
it's not the end of the world for them to roll out either.
I think she'll be happy with that.
Definitely. The skip for Team Dutt is Susan, and she's called for another attempt to use those guards to draw in behind cover. She's using a lot of ice because we talked about the fact that it swings a long way. Or maybe she's just setting up another guard. To be fair, I didn't didn't see the call. This one's hanging pretty straight. Might be that they don't move until after they cross that center line. So this is in the top 12. It's a nicely placed rock, but it is wide open. Nadia calls for another hit and attempt to roll behind cover. Asking this of her vice, Liz Janiak. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong too, sorry. But Liz has delivered a nicely on-target rock, and they're going to get pretty well buried. It's half buried and biting the top of the 12-foot.
Yeah, I think Dutt thinks she can get behind it, and I think the line is there for getting behind that. It breaks a lot after the hog line. They just need to make sure it doesn't stay left of the center line.
Agreed. So she's taking a little bit tighter ice this time. The rock will still need to cross the center line, but I think once it does, it's really going to move. We'll see. Rebecca Dutt has released that stone, and the sweepers are on it pretty soon.
Rogers is just hanging a little bit again.
Well, they did sweep early in this case. It looks like they might have overswept her just a bit, too. Yeah, they might have wanted to let that move a little bit more, but see how we do. That's just going to hang around as a biter at the back, but it is out-counted by the red biter at the top. We're up to skip stones already, and it's been moving right along. A hit game will do that to you. Again with the high five, low five, encouraging words before the skip shot. Thanks, AJ, the FL and Jam and Ben morning show. Okay.
Just wait till you see our zany morning zoo antics.
I'm a little afraid. There is a camera you can use to point to us, but let's not. All right, so here comes this shot by Nadia. She's going for the hit in the back here, taking out that last biter, and ooh.
Just flashes.
Did not quite move as much as they expected. So this gives a little bit of an opportunity to Team Dutt here. Susan's talking about hitting. Susan and Rebecca are talking about their shot. They're talking about maybe they should hit that red rock that is half on and roll to our subjective left, their subjective right. I think that's a good call. Split their yellows apart and remove the reds, so they'd be sitting 1 and 2 if they can execute this shot. So again, we were talking earlier about the fact that this is thinking time. So the clock is running for Team Dutt until they start to shoot their rock, at which point no clock will be running until the results of this shot have occurred. Once everything's come to rest and they've cleared the sheet, they'll switch the clocks over to thinking time for the other team. This looks like it is hanging much wider than they had in mind. And I think they might actually take themselves out in the back and stick around. All right, well, they are shot in the back now.
Well, that line seems to have straightened out a bit.
Yeah. Maybe it's just at draw weight that you get that curl. Once you cross the
she
center
was
line.
pretty upright there.
Yeah, that was definitely a solid hit weight.
I think that the ice is also probably tuned up a little bit.
Indeed.
Maybe they're just not seeing the same line that they saw in practice. And, you know, in an ice shed that started so cold, it is
Now
part of the
warmed up.
challenge is understanding how the ice changes as the room warms up, and
That is true.
the skips that can react to that the fastest.
Well, both skips have started thinking about this. We're going to see which one adapts fastest. Okay, Nadia's got her last rock of the end underway. They're calling that the line is good. And the sweepers are going on now. Now the rock is moving. They waited to sweep because things have been holding so straight, and instead they've picked themselves out. This has been a challenging end to figure out the line. That does leave an open draw for 2 for Team Dutt.
Yeah, we saw how much it likes to curl once you get out to about the 4 foot on that line.
Absolutely. And that was a good example
Maybe
of it.
it's not the ice changing. Maybe it's just that there is a line once you get out to that 4 foot where.
Yep, seems to be. Because that was not a, gentle draw there. It did move for sure. Well, let's see if Susan can bring this deuce to rest. This is perhaps my least favorite shot in curling, draw the wide open house. I hate it so much.
It's the one that gets the nerves.
It does. Well, the sweepers are on this right away. And they're working very hard. They just have to get to the vinyl. Any house is a good house, as I like to say. And they're going to get it there just
I
fine.
think they've got it.
Oh, yeah.
Just a little
Good
more
sweeping.
brushing.
Skip did her job. She hit the window. The sweepers did their job. They took it in. So that's 2 for Team Dutt. So after 2 ends, it is 3-2 here on our featured game at the U18s. There we go. These are 8-end games. So each team has 30 minutes of thinking time. At the moment, we're in our 1-minute break between ends. And of course, we talked about the fact that now Team Dutt's going to have to throw first, and they are underway before their clock. Their 1-minute swap out time is underway, so they didn't burn any of their clock. The rock's in motion, so no clocks are. Let's see what Team Tschumakov can do with their hammer here in the 3rd end. Neither team is wasting any time. I think they're pretty well in the hack and ready to go, which is the way to play when you're on the clock. It's the way to play anyway, but you have more incentive on the clock. For those that are not familiar with timed games, the penalty for running out of time is that you lose. So the penalty is severe. It doesn't matter what the score is or how close to completion you are. So their vested interest is keeping that clock in mind. Sydney is throwing the 2nd lead stone for Team Dutt. They're going for the hit, it looks like. Alina's first rock went into the house, top of the house. And Team Dutt has no problem removing that one and sitting and the top 12, it looks like.
And a quick update from our other games in the Clausen-Hebert showdown. We've got Ethan Hebert picking up a point in the second, and the score is at 3-1. And in the sheet D game, Jackson Arsler-Sharons gives up 3 to Caleb Gartner in the second. So after stealing 2 against him, Caleb Gartner is able to use the hammer to score 3 in the second end.
Thank you, Ben. I see you're doing a good job of keeping the score sheets all up to date, too. I'm so glad you're here this morning. I'd have been lost without you.
I'd say this is definitely a 2-person job.
I agree.
If not 3. I think that 3 would make it work.
3 would be nice. But, you know, 2 is all
Very
right. Much better than me being the solo show.
And I'm glad for the company, too.
Oh, thank you. All right. So, looks like they have correctly judged where to put this guard. They're guarding the house very nicely right now. Team Dutt is. And it looks like Team Tschumakov is going to try to draw around guards and go into the house. If I have understood this call correctly. This is Chloe York throwing the second rocks. Anna is throwing the second rock for Team Dutt. The second rock, in fact. Looks like they're going to also swing around. They're sweeping for line, trying to hold it out around their own guard. They're going to just wick and reposition the guards. Now there's 2 corners again. Nadia's going to call to draw into the house behind one of those yellow guards and see if she can make use of the opponent's stones. It's actually 2 guards on that side. They're just smushed right together. From my angle, they look like one, but from your angle, you can see both of them very nicely. They're frozen. Or nearly enough as to make no never mind. You can hear the encouragement. You can get it here. Some hard work by the sweepers. Doesn't quite get it to the house. It is a tight guard. Useful rock, but not as useful as they were hoping for. That's okay. It's not a terrible result. Vice stones here for Team Dutt, thrown by Rebecca. Again, trying to draw around. The sweepers aren't touching this one. They're watching it pretty much the whole way, which probably means it's just a little heavier than they wanted. Not too heavy, though. It's going to stick around in the back. And the line is great. It's just a little deep. So they're calling for a hack weight hick. So nice, gentle takeout weight. Looks like they're giving about 3 feet of ice for this shot. 2.5 feet of ice. Let's see if they figured out the weight to line ratio. Looks a little down for me. The sweepers are on it right away.
Yeah, they're going to have to hold this.
Yep. Oh, looks like they're going to wreck just a little bit on that. Yep, that's look like they needed more like 3 feet instead of 2.5, but I think the weight was a little further down than they'd actually called for because that guard didn't get moved very much. I think that was probably only about T-line weight. T-line back 8 instead of hack weight.
Yeah, I think the rock was delivered on line.
I think so too, just a little light. Good attempt to hold it there. So Susan is calling again for Rebecca to draw around. They're going to try the same shot they just threw, basically. See if they can put another rock in the house behind the red guard. We seem to have a little hiccup in our stream. I'm going to keep talking in case it's buffering somewhere. Looks like we're maybe live again.
Oh, we should be back on.
Oh, good. Thank you. Yeah, the little computer hiccup this morning affecting not just the timer, but us as well. But we think we're up and running. The timer's still good, by the way. It was just that one technical error early on that didn't affect the game other than a pause for both teams while they waited it out. I believe I overheard that they're planning to swap that clock out at the fourth end break.
Yeah, I think it gave us some problems yesterday, too.
Ah, okay.
They've got a replacement hardware in now, and we'll be saying goodbye to the technical timeouts. Hopefully.
Hopefully. Okay, we are up to our skip stones here. Susan Dutt is ready to roll. Vice has the broom down. Looks like they're going to try that draw again. Still a good shot. Smaller port to get through now. Okay. The rock is away. Sweepers are on it right away for line. Now they're calling that the line is good, and the sweepers are just on it for weight at this point.
Go, Eddie, go! Gotta go!
Looks like they're going to freeze right on down to their own. Just, not quite frozen, just below the T-line, just beyond the T-line. Well executed shot. Generally, probably could have used just a hair less sweeping, but, you know, pretty good.
Hard to tell if the double's there.
I don't think so. That guard is really in the way, I think. It's hard to tell from our angle, but I don't think you can get to that top one.
Yeah, maybe the out turn gets around it.
Maybe.
But
I don't
it's
think
not
they
the one
don't. They're
she's
not doing
chosen,
it there. They're
so-
just going to freeze. They're going to draw down. They're going to follow it down and try to get behind cover and frozen to that yellow, I think. Looks like they've got the same basic ice they just used for the previous shot.
If frozen well enough, you might have a run back for 2.
Definitely. Got to think ahead. Nadia resets once, and it was all business in the hack. They're called on right away for line, but then the sweepers indicate that the weight is up a little bit, so they hold off a little bit. Trying to make it curl just a bit at the end.
Oh.
They're talking about maybe they need more ice, less weight. I think I agree with that. So Susan is going to probably throw the basic same shot again, but try for a top 8 result this time. Took a touch more ice, and indeed they have. I'll try to draw through that port one more time. I like this call. Put it in the top 8 there, really put on the pressure. Make it hard to get in there for one. And
I mean, the draw, the out turn draw to the button is very difficult. Those guards are in.
Yeah.
in the wrong way for that. So she's
Yeah.
going to force Nadia into a tough intern draw here, I think.
I think so.
Line's tight. Yeah, line. Line's good. Yep. Whoa. Win only.
The last yellow rock in motion here. Trying again for that draw. We're trying to make it top 8. Looks like their line is pretty good. If they just get around that one. Yep, they got around. Yep, all the way. All right, so they got a biter out of it. So they are sitting 1, 2, and 3. Well positioned. So now Nadia's got to find a way into the 4-foot to get her point, which being forced to 1 isn't great, but it's better than giving up a steal. So let's see how she does. She's in a tough pickle, though. That's a tough shot. This has been a well-played end by Team Dutt. David asks if we're using the GNCC laptops for timing. Let me find out.
Yes,
Hold on.
they are.
They are?
provided
Okay.
by GNCC.
Indeed, and we have confirmation as well, not just from Ben, who is running the show, but also from the deputy chief umpire. So yes, yes they are. Okay, so let's see how we do here with the hammer shot here for Team Tschumakov. Nadia, the skip, delivering the stone here in the 3rd end. They're calling wait only. Both of the sweepers put their hands up like, ooh, that's kind of, we got enough. So now they're trying to make it curl a little. They're trying a little directional sweeping to see if they can get there, but I think they're not going to quite. Nope. So that is going to be a steal of 3 for Team Dutt. Okay, here we are getting ready now for the 4th end. Team Dutt just stole 3 in the 3rd, so the score is 5-3. Excuse me. And Team Dutt is going to try to set themselves up to continue to put the pressure on Team Tschumakov. And we'll see if Team Tschumakov can execute another solid end, come back with even another 2, get themselves back in it in time for the break, have a chance to regroup, and finish out the second half of this game strong. It's early game yet. Looks like they're conferring with the chief umpire about some question. No clocks are currently running. They've gotten their answer. The officials are all doing a fine job here. It's tough work, all volunteer work, and they are doing their best to keep the game fair and level for all competitors, which of course is the goal of the officiating crew. All right. So Nadia's called for the takeout here. Team Dutt put the pressure on right away by just putting that rock in. This rock turned right out of her hand. I don't know if it picked or if she steered it a little. might have picked because it's going pretty much sideways.
Got some updates from the other sheets. After 3 ends, Eli Clausen scores 2 in the third and is leading 5-1 against Ethan Hebert. And over on sheet D, Jackson Auersler-Sharons scores a point in the third to tie up the game after 3 against Caleb Gartner.
3 all after 3. Got themselves a game out there on D. Back at our featured game, Team Dutt was trying to put up a centerline guard in front of their own stone, but slid just a little bit further over than they expected, but still a fine thing to put up a guard near the center line. Nadia's calling for the hit and the flop behind the guard that was just put up. And Alina's going to do her best to comply with that request. Flopped the other direction, but the hit was executed well. Susan Dutt's calling for the same attempt, the hit and the flop behind cover, except in this case it'd be their own guard. See if they can learn from the previous shot and get the right line for this. I think that Nadia's lead might have thrown a little bit heavier weight, though. They're being very patient with this and watching it slide down. The sweepers were ready. And they're just going to sweep just a little bit at the end. Nicely done. Really good roll, too. Probably sticking out just a tiny bit, but not much. And Nadia wisely doesn't even try to pick that out. She's just going to go clear that guard. Good call. So, David, in the chat room, we appreciate the insight, and the Deputy Chief Umpire was wondering if we can get your contact information. You're welcome to email me, and I'll forward it to him. I don't mind giving out my email address to everybody in the world. That's fine. Again, my name's FL. My email address is ETT as in Tom, LIN as in Nancy @gmail.com. So, David, if you would email me at lynn@gmail.com, which I'm going to type out for you under Ben's name. If you would please contact me at that email address that I just typed under Ben's name, David, I will put you in contact with the Deputy Chief Umpire directly at his request. Please and thank you. We appreciate your insight. Oh, okay, very good. I will pass along your email address to the DCU. I'm going to just write that down and hand it to him in a little note. Yes, I'm passing notes in class. Here you go. Thanks, David. We appreciate it. All right, now I wasn't watching. What happened, Ben? Looks like some hits and stuff. Okay, so now at the moment it looks like red is sitting 1. Yellow has still got our counting rock over our way on my subjective right of the house. Your subjective left. And Team Dutt is calling for a hit on that red shot rock, which would presumably leave them sitting 2 if this works out as called. Rocks away. The sweepers are just cleaning. That's a good sign. Nobody's calling for any sweeping. And it looks like this hit is going to be a nice little flop, just a little to left. A very nice split in the house. Dutt setting 2. Nadia's given some thought to maybe the long double or maybe a hit and flop. Looks like she's thinking the hit and flop's probably a better choice. She's going to go for the top yellow rock, even though it's not the shot stone, because she's trying to get behind cover and start building a little bit of an end here. I like this call. I think it's a good call. Rocks away. The sweepers are on it pretty quickly, about halfway down the ice. Cleared the guard nicely. And it's pretty much a nose hit, so they're not precisely up behind cover. It's still open. And Team Dutt's gonna go right for it. They don't really waste a lot of time. They're really just thinking about what direction they want to come at it from. I agree that this is the way to go. That I wouldn't want to mess with that red guard at the moment. Anybody else, now that my email address is out there in the chat window, feel free to email me. Let me know how we're doing. If you don't want to do it in a public forum, that's fine.
Any debts you need to settle?
Well, let's not get crazy, Ben. Okay, so that actually took out the red rock and came all the way across the house. Almost did a double themselves, but just jiggled what is now the remaining rock in the house. The shooter went out the back. Team Tschumakov is ready to go here. Let's see. This ice, I'm presuming they're going for a hit. Let's see. Looks like it was just a little wide. They're going to let it move a little. They are going for the hit. See if they can get there. Yep, very nice. Hit and pretty much stick. Little tiny flop to the inside. Well thrown. Team Dutt is just going to return the favor. Looks like they're going to use the other handle, though. This is the skip. Susan going down to throw her rocks. Her vice, Rebecca, is holding the broom for her. Susan Dutt has been curling competitively for 7 years. But she does not, on her information that she provided to me, the webcaster hasn't put down her total time in, just says competitively for 7 years. Sweepers are on this pretty quickly. Looks like this is curling just a little more than they had in mind, and I think they might just curl just a little too much. Yep, so that's unfortunately a flash for Team Dutt. Wasting no time, Nadia calls for the draw to try to split the house. This is her first skip stone. She does have the hammer. So there are 3 rocks remain in this end, the 4th end. That'll be leading into our halftime break. These are 8-end games. And so there'll be a 5-minute or so intermission between the 4th end and the 5th end. Sheet C is already in its break.
Yeah, the sweepers have this one way up.
Yeah. They're just watching it. It's coming down nicely. Let's see if it sticks around on the back or not. I don't know that it will. Rebecca's ready to sweep defensively. Of course, once the rock touches the tee line, that's halfway through the house, the opposing team can have one player sweep defensively to try to remove that rock, and she is able to sweep it out the back of the house. It's still in play. It's a trip hazard at this point, but it is not counting. Susan's going to try again for that hit. She's taken just a little bit more ice, and they'll probably be a little more aggressive in the sweeping if necessary to hold it. the ice crew for Potomac is out here just mopping the sheets between the 4th and 5th ends during that break, just to pick up any debris. We don't put down any new pebble mid-game, so the pebble on our ice has to hold up to the 20 minutes of practice time, 10 for each team, plus the 8-end game without any refreshing of the pebble. Just a quick mop to clean up debris. So this rock's away. They're sweeping right away to hold it, like we talked about. They might need to do that early, and they've done a nice job adjusting. They indeed got the hit, little flop, and now Nadia can either hit and try to roll out and retain the hammer, or just try to get her one. If she is able to blank this end, that's hit and roll out, then her team would retain the advantage of last rock or hammer going into the 5th. That might be a good strategy to come back strong with the score as it stands now. Alternately, if they get the point here, then at least it would be a 1-point game coming back from the break. So we'll see which way they opt to go. All right, the hammer is underway. It's got hit weight. Looks like they're going to probably get the blank. Yep, absolutely. Nice, cleanly done for the blank end. So no score here in the 4th end, and Team Tschumakov will retain the hammer in the 5th. They're doing a clock swap during the break. They have a alternate laptop timing the break here on sheet B as in boy, and the ice crew is mopping. So it's even though there's no actual curling going on, there's a lot of activity here. And it looks like everybody's in their break. Ben, do you have some score updates for us?
I do over on sheet D. They hung the 4th score, the 4th end score, and it's now 6 points for ours, so Sharon's against Gartner. And we don't have an update on the sheet C score yet, but as soon as they get back from the break, I'm sure they'll hang it for us and let us know.
Okay. An update from the chat room for those that aren't looking at the actual chat. Leslie Dutt says that Susan Dutt has been curling for 11 years at least, having 2 older brothers curling and competing. She was dragged along. Thanks for that update, Leslie. I appreciate that. It's always fun to know a little bit about our competitors. All right, so let's take a look. The mopping form is impeccable, AJ. Thank you. We are putting the standings for the men's at the U18 up here for you. You can see going into this particular game, Eli Clausen's rink was 2-0. Caleb Gartner was 1-1. Ethan Herbert's team, excuse me. Hebert? Oh boy, I failed that one. I'm sorry, Ethan. My bad. We're also 1-1, and Jackson Usler Sharon.
I think that's right.
From Plainfield was 0-2, and we'll see how it goes today. But
we got an announcement at the beginning of the draw yesterday. The chief umpire announced that the GNCC was actually awarded 3 slots for the Nationals U18 this year, and so 3 of these teams will get the opportunity to compete at the national level.
That's on the men's side?
On the boys' side, yeah. On the girls' side, 2 of the 3 girls teams will get to move along.
Outstanding news.
To the national championship.
All right, so everybody's in it. That's exciting.
Yeah, I'd say this is double round robin, and the teams have plenty of curling left ahead of them.
And you can see now the women's U18 GNCC championship standings are up on your screen. And we talked about those before our game, so you can just take a quick look-see at those. And as Ben said, two of the teams will advance to the Nationals. The other sheets are back up and running. Ours should be back up in about 90 seconds. And I'm actually going to put my microphone on mute for just a second and stretch my legs. I'll be back with you in just a minute.
Yep. This line. Gotta go. Gotta go hard. Hard all the way. Hard all the way. Get it in. Hard, get it in. Hard, 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 hard. Now you're reaching too far. What do you want, Abe? Good shot.
This one here.
Okay.
Wait on me, guys. Touch it. That's fine, Chuck. Okay. Hey, you good? Priorities. Normal.
I am back in good time to see the first rock of the fifth end underway.
Hard! Hard! Hard all the way.
Welcome back.
Hard one, Danny.
All the way hard. Drag it out, drag it out. Get a biter. All the way, all the way, all the way.
Nice shot.
Got it good. That still works. Go behind it.
Broke something. Oh, there we go. Thank you. All right, this is FL. I'm back. I must have jiggled a wire when I got up because you couldn't hear me for a second, but I swear I was back in time for the first rock of the fifth end. So were the teams, obviously, because they're out there playing again.
Hard. Bang. Go. Line's good. Wait
And we do have a score update in the Clausen-Hebert game.
hard.
Eli Clausen scored 3 in the fourth and is leading 8-1 over on sheet C.
I don't mind that.
Thanks, Ben. Okay, Sydney throwing the second lead rock for Team Dutt. She curls out of Broomstones. And she started after the 2010 Olympics, so she's a relatively newer comer to the sport than some of her teammates, and playing very well today. That was a nice hit she just performed.
Just come to it. Use it as backing.
Let's see, so off we go. Alina throwing her second lead rock for Team Tschumakov. And I know I've probably pronounced that 4 different ways, and most of them may be wrong. I apologize.
One of them's got to be right, though.
That's my
the
theory.
optimistic way to look at
I'm
it.
just going to cycle through, and I apologize for the mangles. Feel free to chime in from the live chat room, mock my pronunciation, but never the teams, because they are out here playing their hearts out and really doing a fantastic job. Anna is the second on Team Dutt. She's also thrown a hit, successfully completed, and actually almost got a double. Nadia is wasting no time. She called for the hit and roll to try to take out the yellow stone that was the shooter just a moment ago and roll to split the house. try to make the most of having retained the hammer by blanking the fourth end. I'm sure that they met with their coach. Both teams, I'm sure, met with their coaches during the break, refocused and reconfirmed what their strategies should be. So they got the hit, but not the split of the house. Both of those red rocks were pretty close together.
We'll see if Dutt goes for the double here.
I think she is. She's changed the call. She's just doing a hit and roll now instead of the double. She did originally call the double, and then she changed it. So she's going for a hit and then a roll in front of the other red stone. So they're going for the top red, try to flop in front of the bottom red, both of which are in front of the tee line. Okay, so they roll just a little further than they had in mind. They're going to go out of play there. Still a well-executed hit. Just needed a little bit more curl.
Changed the call there. Didn't change the weight, I don't think.
Agreed. Tough to manage the roll with that kind of weight, especially so close to the edge.
Chloe got them on early here.
Yep, Chloe York threw that rock and
The weight looks fine.
it does. I'm just trying to split that house
Pretty
up.
good sweeping here.
Very nice.
They got it right there.
Yep. I might have wanted to leave it a foot higher, but you know, if you're being particular about it, try to split it and leave them evenly spaced. But maybe they're trying to tempt Team Dutt into something unwise.
Yeah, tricky crosshouse double here. I don't know if she'll go for it. She's throwing the line for it.
She's got the speed for it too. Sweepers are on this right away. Looks like this is curling a lot. I think they're going to get the nose hit out of this.
I think it just over curled on them.
Yeah, got the nose. Nothing wrong with that result. I'm not sure that they were calling for anything else but that. I didn't actually see the call as far as whether or not they were trying to roll or not. Nadia calling for the hit as well. She's also going to go for a nose, try to keep the house split apart. That's ideal for her right now. Try to maneuver to get her two out of this and come back.
Nadia's got them on for Liz's throw here.
This is curling quite a bit. This is much less weight than the previous hit, and this is going to really take off to the side. Yeah, it just curled much more than they were expecting. So you could overhear in the background, I think she was saying you were on the broom. So her
Maybe
shooter
just-
did the job.
Maybe just got it started a little bit.
Maybe. Also, as I said, that was significantly less weight than the shot we saw from Team Dutt. And it may have required that up weight hit
You might be right.
weight to hold straighter there. Team Dutt's going to go for the other one now. Got the sweepers on it pretty right away. This is a little bit more of a controlled weight. And they're going to have to sweep hard to hold this, and they are. Nice sweeping, ladies. Okay, so they did roll to the same side of the sheet. There's now 2 yellow stones counting. That's quite a change from 3 rocks ago.
So down 2 in the 5th here. Looks like she wants to rip them both out. Get the end back into her control.
Calling the sweepers on, and they're working hard. Looks like she's going to get the 1 and the 2.
She got them both.
Nice.
Excellent shot there by Liz.
That was definitely a team shot. Good throw, good sweeping, good line calling. Nicely done. Both teams still have ample time to complete their games. Again, they started with 30 minutes of thinking time each. It's kind of Only one team is on the clock at a time, and it's only when the rock is not in motion and they're thinking about it. So the yellow clock is running until Team Dutt gets their stone underway here. Susan's rock is away now, so no clock is running. Nicely done to our timer. I'm not going to name our timer because our officials are going to remain anonymous, but appreciated. Lovely hit and roll back to the center line. Just move the line a little bit so that if they're going to try the hit, they've got to figure out a new line here. And it looks like they are calling for the hit. Again, high fives, low fives before the shot.
Bring it online, bring it online. All the way. Right here, right here, right here. Yeah, right here, right here.
Nadia's getting herself set. Rocks away. Sweepers are not touching, except now they have the outside sweeper trying to get it to move just a little bit. There's no joy on that, though.
Whoa! Whoa!
So just a little too much ice or just a little wide. It's hard to tell from our angle. A little too much weight.
Liz's weight was a lot more down than that, so maybe she was just expecting a little more curl based on the weight she saw earlier.
Could be. That was pretty stiff. Pretty firm weight there. A lot of yelling over on the other sheets as well. You can hear that ambient noise in the background. Gotta love a curling club and all the yelling and clacking. Looks like we've got handshakes on sheet C. Looks like game over on there.
And after Clausen takes another point in the fifth, Team Hebert has decided they've seen enough of this one.
So with sheet C about to exit the ice shed, we may see some changing ice conditions just because they don't have a neighboring sheet now. We'll see. Although sheet D is still underway, so there's still some bodies out there. But, you know, it affects the ice sometimes when you have less warm bodies breathing and generally warming up the air.
Especially on a cold morning like this. I think my car read like 15 degrees when I got into it this morning.
I was trying to block that out. It was pretty cold this morning. All right, so Team Dutt's going to try to guard up their shot rock, and they do a nice job of getting that guard in place. It's half covered.
Chloe, can you see it?
And the question is, does Nadia want to try to blank again? I think so. They're talking about it. So I think they're going to try another hit here and try to see if they can just chip that yellow and roll out, blanking the end. And retain the hammer for another try.
They only play 8 ends here on the U18 playdowns, so the game is starting to get towards the end.
It is, but it's an advantage to have the hammer in the even ends, especially. So if they can blank this, then they would have the hammer coming home in the 6th. I think that's a fine choice if they can pull it off. I think it's a good strategy. You can hear the clapping in the background probably in the warm room. The audience is curling savvy and appreciates what they've seen out on sheet C. And this is also hanging straight. Nadia's rocks seem to be rolling, just not curling as much as the rest of her team. I think she's getting a little frustrated with that. Unfortunately, she flashed that a little bit wide, and Team Dutt steals 1. So Nadia does still have the hammer, but the scoreboard changed a little bit by 1. That makes our current score 6-3.
And in the 5th end, we have a measure going on sheet D, so we'll get a score update there as soon as that's done.
As a curling official groupie, I love to see a measure.
These are the professionals. And maybe we'll see one on our end. We can put them on TV.
Ooh, that'd be fun. Okay. Dudt is wasting no time. They were able to get their rock started at perfect time to not use any of their clock, since there's that 1 minute of kind of dead time between ends to wrangle the rocks and get set again. So nicely done, not wasting any time on their clock. Team Dutt has 13 minutes and 1 second left on their clock, and Team Tschumakov has 11 minutes and 6 seconds. So plenty of time for each team to play their 3 ends. Were there an extra end, they would have a new set of clocks each matching. I don't recall what they get. Enough to play.
And we have the measure results in on sheet D. In the 5th end, it was another point for Jackson Arsler Sharons. He leads 7-3 over Caleb Gartner.
Tschumakov is putting this guard in a really nice position. They do need to build themselves some points. I approve of throwing a guard here. It is not yet removable because we have our 4-stone free guard zone. Team Dutt is going to go ahead and throw up a guard as well, it looks like, guarding the yellow stone they threw so temptingly into the house, but Nadia was wise enough to ignore. At least I think that was a good strategy. Sweepers are on it hard and early and often. And they're going to come up. I think that might overcurl a bit. We'll see. Actually, now it changed handles. Oh, okay, so they wound up with a center line guard. That's not precisely what they expected to have happen there. I don't know if it picked or if it just had a lazy handle to start, but it changed handles, leaving this yellow rock open. So Nadia's going to go for it this time and try to roll flop behind cover. So Alina's let the rock go. The sweepers are on it right away. Looks like it is curling madly towards the center line, and indeed it's going to rearrange the world. It just split that yellow guard out. So the guard did its job, despite winding up closer to the center line. Of course, it's the free guard zone violation, so they got to put it back. We just talked about that. That was not yet time to remove a rock from play. So the teams make no fuss about it. They know the rule. They just put the rock back where they think it was and continue the game. Well done.
Yeah, and next year, all these playdowns will feature the five rock rule.
I can't wait to see how that works out.
I think it'll be interesting.
It is interesting. I mean, they used to have a 3-rock free guard zone, and then it went to 4 for many years, and now it's moving on up to 5.
Eventually, we won't be able to hit guards out at all.
I think that's doubles. Wait, no, you can still hit those out eventually. Not sure that you ever really do.
You don't ever need to.
Yeah.
By the time you get to the part where you can hit them out, everything's already in the house. You probably hit one of your own.
Yeah. Yeah, the Canadian doubles championship is coming up starting the first weekend of the new year, I think. We've, of course, already seen the U.S. championships, so we know that Team Hamilton is going to the Olympics for us. Okay.
So Becca and Matt Hamilton are they're playing on the national teams too, right?
Yes, they
the
both.
men's and the women's teams.
Yes, they both are on the 4-player men's and women's Olympic curling teams. Whew, they're going to have a busy Olympics.
They will.
Okay, so Team Dutt is throwing another hit. They've thrown normal weight. Sweepers are just sort of massaging the rock a bit. Looks like a nice throw. They want it to curl just a little bit at the end, and they get just a little flop, but not as much as they might have wanted. Still, well executed. Nothing wrong with that. Tschumakov Frank is calling for the hit and flop behind cover. Again, they do have hammer here. It's a 3-point game in the 6th end of 8. So they're definitely still in it. And they're playing a patient game. I might personally throw a few more draws and a few less hits, but it's a dangerous game to do that too. Susan Dutt's calling for the hit and the flop to the outside, I think. Making the hit and roll behind cover that much harder. So good call. We'll see if the execution matches the call. Anyway, we can move the scores a bit so we can see the full screen. Leslie's wondering if we can tweak where the scores are. I don't know that we can. What do you think, Ben?
That is something we can work on for a future broadcast.
Okay.
I think it would be hard to do it on the fly right now.
All right. So we'll see if Michael Dobbs might give us some technical assistance on how to do that between broadcasts. Sorry, we can't do it at this very moment. But you're right. It kind of is in the way. We'll just try to move the camera angle around a little bit, sort of. Looks like they've got the hit under control. Let's see where the roll goes. Maybe a little flop behind cover like they wanted. All right. Flop towards cover, but not precisely under cover. Nadia looking at her clock and making sure she has enough time. I appreciate that she was looking at that. It's something, one more element to the game to keep in mind. Most competitive teams have somebody on their team whose job it is to keep an eye on the clock and keep their team motivated to play within the allotted time. And we're all motivated, but sometimes you get distracted. So Team Dutt's throwing another hit. And just going to pick that shot rock out. Their shooter rolls out as well, leaving a clean house with one center line guard that is yellow. High and low fives. Well done. So Nadia's going to try the other side of the sheet, see how the curl is here to try to curl back to the center. Going to throw the out turn. Oh, she's got a lefty. Is that then the in turn?
That is the in turn.
Oh, threw me off.
Those lefties.
I know. Let's see how this line works for them. I don't think anybody's really drawn around this side. At least not real recently.
They're going pretty hard here. They really want to get this one tucked in.
Yeah, well, they also want to get it there really hard, girls. So nice job sweeping it real hard. It finished a bit at the end, but I don't think it's hidden. And looks like Rebecca and Susan are kind of on the same page here. They're going to go for that hit.
Now this is a spot where you'd like to have the lefty.
Yeah, indeed. I should probably make it. Make a note for future webcasters that that Liz, the vice, is left-handed, so they don't realize it most of the way through the game like I just did.
And Leslie's given us some inside information here.
There's at least 3 lefties. 2 on Team Dutt, 1 on the other team. Wow, okay. See, I can see you've been paying attention, Leslie. Well done. I'd like to think I was, but, you know, even on my own teams, I hardly ever notice who's a lefty and who's a righty until it gets to the moment when I'm like, huh,
Yeah, until there's that hack weight hit that a righty couldn't hit.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. But this is why I'm not out there. Oh, that and the fact I'm old. But instead, I'm in here in the warm room where it's harder to miss shots.
We are really good curlers here in the warm room.
They are really good curlers out there, I gotta say. I'm very impressed. Sweepers are on this right away. They're working hard to try to hold this out and get it there. I think they can get it there, and I think they can hold it out. Ooh, sweep hard, girls. Yeah, just got it
around.
past. Nice.
Really well done there.
Very much so. And this is going to come to rest right at the tee. Just on the back edge of the tee. Well done.
Great shot. The team
Yeah.
looks really happy about that.
It was well
There's
executed.
some high fives over there on the sideline.
I love it. Looks like Team Dutt's going to go with a down weight tap back maybe with this ice. What do you think? Like a hack weight hit?
I think they can. Again, another spot where you'd like to have a lefty,
Yeah, well,
but I think the curl is there for this. Susan seems pretty confident in it.
I agree. She's been playing great. The warm room is hopping. It's a full house in here, actually. There's a ton of people here. Family, of course, I'm sure, for some of these curlers, but also some Potomac members here volunteering and some Potomac members here spectating and some out-of-towners here spectating. And this is going to work out pretty well for them. Looks like it's like back line weight, maybe. So they're just going to move the red rock back to the back of the house. Sweep it hard just to drag it back.
Just a great shot there by Susan.
It was. So Hammer's going to come down here, and they're talking about, yep, just try to hit and flop a little behind cover, or at least hit and not run it back onto their own red, and get themselves 2 points, which they've been trying to do for a few ends now, and they're in a position to make that happen.
I think this has been her best opportunity for two since she got the hammer back.
Absolutely. They're taking a lot of ice, though.
I think she doesn't want to overcook this. I think all she needs to do is move it to biting 12 in the back, and
Sure.
she's seen the down weight hit here, so she should be able to hit that line.
All right, let's see how it comes out. Seems like, yeah, they moved the broom in. I was like, it seemed like a lot of ice for me, but they moved the broom in. They heard me. Let's see how it works out. But I agree with having moved that broom in just a bit. I think if you're going to throw back line weight at this, you need that in just a bit, particularly since her rocks seem to throw a little straighter.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Let's see. Okay, the hammer rock is underway. Nadia releasing.
It's a little up.
They're holding off on the sweeping, getting ready. And now they're just having the one sweeper go, which usually means they're trying to make it curl a bit. I think it's holding out there again. It is holding out. Again, hers are running really straight. I don't know if it's the release or...
We saw a lot more weight on that throw, too.
That's true. That was not backline weight. So that's a steal of 1 for Team Dutt. We're in our minute wrangle time. The teams are taking a moment to talk amongst themselves. Team Tschumakov is looking like they understand the seriousness of their predicament here. They're running out of time to come back. They're down by 4 with 2 ends remaining.
Yeah, I don't want to risk heavy stuff.
And yes, Ricky, I agree. That was a good end by Dutt. They've been playing very well. So here they are, the lead. Sydney for Team Dutt has thrown her first rock. And there's only one sweeper going with it. Looks like they're just getting themselves sorted out here. Oh, there's the second sweeper. Join the party. And they threw it right on into the house. Nice rock to the outside edge of the 12-foot. Still above the tee. That's a good spot. Alina's starting off with her lead rock. They definitely need some guards here. See if they can start building some offense. Well, this is looking pretty nice. Yep, nice tight guard. You can just see it on the edge of your, well, I can just see it on the edge of my overhead view. You can see it very clearly in your view on the screen. Okay, it looks like they are maybe just going to throw this one through Team Dutt. I think that's a strategy as well. Don't want to leave a lot of rocks for the other team to play with. They threw the one in on the corner just to see what temptation they could offer. And then the second one they wisely threw through. Alina's going to try to make use of her guard from her first stone, see if she can throw into the house. I personally might have put up another corner guard here to really start building the offense. But you got to throw what you're comfortable with.
I mean, you either think, you either think take 3, steal 1, or you think take 2, steal 2.
It's a well-executed shot, though. So, again, you got to throw what you like, and that was a good result.
Maybe she thinks that with that yellow rock on the outside 12, she can maybe use that as a corner freeze opportunity and maybe go for her 3 that way rather than putting the guard up over it.
Sure.
But I kind of agree with you. I think the guard would put them in a little bit of a...
So Team Dutt is at the stage where they can remove guards, which is good because they're all over the guard, and that's fine. Any red rock is a good red rock for them to hit at this point, and their shooter sticks around and is actually the shot rock. So yellow is 1 and 3, although Nadia decided to call the hit on that shot rock without any pause. So she's trying to change that. They're holding the sweepers off. Now they're on. Okay. Got the hit, but rolled out. So red is sitting 1, yellow is sitting 2. Wide open house, no guards. Team Dutt's going to take out that red stone. At least that's the call. Their mission is clear. Limit the points. Holding the sweepers off. This might have come out a little bit wide. Or maybe a little heavy. Let's see. I think they're going to get their hit, though. Yep, just enough.
Does the job?
Yep. Yeah, they're trading hits here. Again, I'm not sure that's the best choice in strategy to build some points, but again, throw what you're comfortable with, and they are getting these hits. And this time the shooter sticks around.
We have a score update over on sheet D, where Caleb Gardner has picked up 1 and now trails Jackson Orsler Sharon's 7-4.
Okay. Rebecca picks out that shot stone, so it's a clean house. There's just a trip hazard in the back that's not counting for anything. Okay, so Nadia's calling for the guard. She's going to try again to build her end. So I think that was the call. That looks pretty good. Looks like it might be going in. That's fine. Guard or in doesn't much matter at this point. It's still going to be a target. Looks like this is good. Top 8. Nothing wrong with that. Team Dutt's not going to take any time to think about this. They know they're going to go for the hit. So that yellow rock from Team Dutt is underway, and Rebecca's thrown it cleanly and does her job, removing both the red rock and the shooter rolls out. Perfect for them. Again, they don't want to give any rocks to Team Tschumakov to allow them to sit on them or freeze to them or hide behind them. Just keep it clean and empty is the goal for Team Dutt, and they're doing a fine job this end. They're definitely in control of this game at the moment. So Liz is throwing the vice rocks here, Team Tschumakov, and the sweepers are working hard to try to drag this close. They're hoping probably to get it on the corner there. They didn't quite get it there, but it is a guard, and you know, a guard is a good guard. Any guard's a good guard right now. Team Dutt knows that too, so they're going to try to hit it. Susan coming down to throw this first of the skip stones here in this 6th end. Wait.
7th.
Yes, 7th end. Thanks. I was literally counting back and forth. I could have looked at the scoreboard. Luckily, Ben is awake. Don't blame the energy
It's only
drink.
because I've been updating the scores.
This end has gone very fast, in fairness. Lots of hits. Calling for sweeping right away. Looks like they're on it now. Hit, and their rock actually did stick around. I'm not sure if that was their preference or not. I personally would have tried to roll out.
Yeah, I don't think they wanted it to stick around. Nadia's going to try to use it now, I think.
Absolutely. Any guard in a storm or something like that. Again, high fives. I do like the attitude. They're keeping that up.
Yeah, spirits are still good.
Yeah.
That's what
Still
you need if you
smiles.
need to mount a comeback. You need to keep the spirits up.
Got to keep loose. Keep it. And it's nice to see smiles out on the ice. Nadia's rock is away. She's been curling since the release of the Clone Wars.
How long ago was that? I feel ancient.
I figure that'll give our friends in the chat room something to look up for us. I could.
Oh, I heard you.
I wonder if there's a little bit of a jiggle. Yay, I'm back, sort of. Here? I'm sort of in and out.
Yeah, I think we have an intermittent.
Okay, let me see if I can fix this. Joy, here I am. Yes, I think I'm back. Okay, my technical difficulties abound today. This was a loose wire into the microphone thing, but I think I fixed it. Speaking of fixing things, Team Dutt is going to try to do a hit on this red stone, the only rock that is their only target right here. They've taken it out. They did stick around. Again, not ideal, but they do have a biter now. And Nadia's just going to have to draw for one. She needs to get some points here. She can't afford to blank again. She just needs to take one if she can and then steal her way home. All right, Nadia's last rock is away. Sweepers are working very hard to drag this rock to make it good. They're doing a nice job. They brought that in just fine. They did a good job taking that to the top 8, so that's a score of 1 for the Tschumakov team. So our score right now is 7-4. Team Dutt does have the hammer, so I can imagine they're going to try to keep things very clean, just like they've been doing.
Yeah, Dutt with the hammer now is in control.
1 and 3.
And should have a pretty good opportunity to close this out.
Yep.
But steals of 3, and the Tschumakov team has got plenty of time. And
By some value of plenty.
Their heads are still in the game here. They're
true.
not out of it yet.
All right, so they're going to see if they can build themselves a stealing end. Need to steal 3 to tie. I'd like to see that. Eight ends feel so short. Well, for me anyway. So this one's going to slip in just a little deeper than they had in mind. It's going to just get into the top 12, which makes it a valid target. I'm making Ben work. I keep pointing at buttons, and he stands up and does it. Thanks, Ben.
Anytime.
We haven't curled at all together this year. We should fix that.
No, it's been a couple of years.
I know, yeah. We should fix that. All right, so Team Dutt is successfully able to remove this rock, and if they're lucky, they're going to roll out, but at the very least, they're going to roll way to the side, and they're still biting. That's cool. Nadia's going to try again to place a guard, this time to the other side. Or maybe she called it in. I honestly didn't look at the call. I would presume a guard. Sweepers are just watching it. They're going with it. They're ready. Yeah, she's indicating she wants a guard. And the sweepers are not touching it yet. They might just finish it here, see if they can drag it off the center line. Oh, good job. It's finishing nicely. A little closer to the center line than they had in mind, but again, any guard is a good guard right now. Team Dutt is, I'm not sure if they're going to throw through or if they're going to try to draw behind their shot. Oh, they're throwing through. Good. Good girls. That's exactly what I would do. Although I hate throwing through, but, you know, strategically, it's the way. Nicely executed. Nadia's calling for the draw behind their own nearly centerline guard. Chloe is doing her best to comply. It looks like this is curling a little more than they had in mind, but they might promote instead. Doesn't look like there's enough weight to really move it far, though. Yeah, they're going to tap their own guard up just another foot or two, leaving 2 centerline guards, or nearly centerline. Team Dutt's just going to remove some red. It's open season now.
Just be careful of the yellow.
They are concerned about jamming on their own yellow,
So that we don't jam on the yellow.
and they're discussing which handle might be better to throw.
Okay, that's better.
Skip likes this side. Says, no, I'm not too worried about the jam. That's okay. Rocks away. Sweepers were on it right away. Good instincts to do that, but the skip says, nope, we're good. Straight run back takeout. No jam. Nadia's going to use the fortress that's been built and try to draw behind. So just off the center.
Yeah, just time to pile rocks in there now.
Yeah. Indeed.
Got to get 3 here.
Got to steal 3 here. Sweepers are ready. They're concerned about the line. It's been running kind of straight here until it gets to the center line, and then it hooks. So they're sweeping for line really hard now. They're going to wick, I think. Oh, just a little wick. Come
Just
to the top
missed it.
house. So the weight was great.
It really was. A really close shot.
Yeah. Susan is wasting no time, signaling she'd like to hit on this now open red shot stone. Good communication on Team Dutt, calling the weight. Got the hit and roll out. Perfect. Again, Nadia's going to try again for that draw. They almost had it last time, and they moved the pesky guard out of the way. They probably could do the same exact shot and make it this time.
She gives her just an inch more. She should have the shot.
I don't even think she needs the inch more. She moved the guard.
Oh, you're right.
They're on this early and hard. Seems like they got plenty of line. Now it's going to be weight only. Looks like they need it for the weight. Going hard for the weight. They can't quite get it to tuck in there or make the house. They're sitting just outside of the house. Doesn't matter. Team Dutt says, yep, let's take it out. It's a dangerous rock. It's got to go. So the rocks away. They seem pretty happy with it. They're just cleaning. And they're just going to, ooh, just a little wider than they had in mind. That's the opportunity that Nadia's looking for here. Let's see if she can take advantage of that rare miss. Team Dutt has been pretty, oh, we have a timeout on sheet B, our featured sheet. They seem to have a technical question of some sort. Ah, okay. I didn't even notice. Did you notice that they threw the wrong colored rock?
The wrong color rock.
Maybe. Oh, they threw wasn't the wrong color. It was an out of order throw. Gotcha. Oh gosh, that's pulled out the rule book. I don't remember what happens there. I think that I don't even remember. I'd have to pull out the rule book. It's something about if somebody throws this rock, then maybe the skip gets one less throw of their own in recompense. I don't remember.
I think they'll just be forced to
Continue. If it was the second throwing
continue.
another rock, then the vice only gets. I don't remember. There's a whole rule book for this. I'm not even gonna try to remember.
Oh, did they throw out a turn? No, I think it's just the wrong number.
Yeah. The wrong player, right?
I'm not sure.
Well, we'll find out later and update
This
you.
is Liz's second rock, right?
Okay, so having thrown out of order, there's an official ruling based on the score on the rules that are published by the United States Curling Association, which indicates who gets to throw what. And I think that the result is that the skip will actually get to only throw one stone. They'll still get to throw all 8 as a team. Woo, that's a nice draw. It's going to come to the back of the house, but they just got it by that top guard. I'm going to mute my mic for a second and find out from the boss what happened. Okay, I'm back. I did get the scoop there. The team red second accidentally threw 3 stones this end. The rule book then clearly states what happens next, which is that the vice will continue to throw 2 rocks, and that leaves only 1 for the skip for the red team. So all 8 stones will be delivered, but the second threw 3 of them, so the skip only gets 1 of them. And that's why we have officials and rule books to help everybody figure it out when mistakes are made. Okay, so Team Dutt clears away that top red guard. That's fine. Any rock's a good rock for them. Nadia calls for another draw, this time around a yellow guard instead of around a red guard.
Liz had a great shot on her last one.
She really did.
See if she can strike twice.
This one looks like it's got a little more speed to me. They're sweeping hard for the line. Now they're sweeping for weight. Oh, that picked. Ah,
no.
that's unfortunate. Oh. So they've cleared that stone, which picked and came to a screeching halt, not over the hog line. Of course, a rock that doesn't totally clear the hog line is not in play and is removed.
Well, the 3 is a bit of a head scratcher now.
Yeah, I mean, they're talking about if they want to take a timeout. I don't know that they need to, but they might just for funsies.
I think if Susan does the run back here,
Yeah.
she takes the red out, and the game is over by
By-
process of elimination.
Yes. It looks like it's game over. They've decided that there's no point continuing. Nadia has said no, we're there. So everybody's shaking hands, and this game is completed. There is no score counted in the 8th end because They were not complete. So we will leave our score at 7-4 in favor of Team Dutt. Thank you for joining us here at the Potomac Curling Club for the U18 GNCC Championship. We do have one game remaining on sheet D. Do we have the ability to show it, or should we just describe it?
Yeah, we'll swing the cameras over there.
All right, we're going to swing those cameras. Do-si-do. So we're going to work on swinging our point of view. We are in the 8th end, coming home on sheet D. At the moment, yellow is down 7-5, and they are sitting, after this rock comes to rest, they'll be sitting 2 sort of behind cover, sort of, kind of. Thanks, Ben. Fine camera work there, sir. Score over there, I think, should be 7-5, if I'm seeing correctly, after 7.
You are right.
So we're going to update that scoreboard for you. The red team was able to do a hit to remove one of the yellow stones and their shooter. So Team Gardner is sitting 1 at the moment behind cover. They've got 2 center line guards protecting that yellow rock that's at the back 4. You can hear the applause in the warm room for these ladies that played out on sheet B on our feature sheet. And Gartner throwing a draw, trying to get a second rock back in there. They need 2 to tie. But they are having to steal 2 to tie. Red has hammer. Looks like this one is moving just a little more. Ooh, it doesn't have much of a handle. Great weight. It just did not curl as much as they had hoped. It's still sticking out halfway out from under cover. And Ausler Charens is wasting no time. They've called the hit. This is the first of the 2 skip stones for red. Yellow is trying to steal, so they only have 1 more rock to come here in this game. This is the 8th end, the final end. In this, our 3rd draw at the GNCC U18 Championships. Red hit is underway, at least that was the call. It looks like it's a little wide. Let's see if it comes back enough to make contact with that yellow. Nope, it does not. So yellow has a bit of an opportunity here. They are sitting the 2 they need to tie. They might want to protect that for now. And then worry about maybe getting a win out of it and maybe not. They're having a nice discussion out there on the ice. I can't see their clocks from here. I presume they've got enough time. They don't look pressed.
Point. Put it in, but guard it. Like top 12.
You can hear maybe the ambient mics. They're having a good discussion out there about what to do.
Or.
I'm presuming they've already used their timeout, or maybe they have forgotten they have one. I'm not sure which, because of course we haven't been watching this game very closely.
This is their skip's last rock here, so I think they're debating whether they want to tap it into the button, or if they want to guard. What would you do here?
I think I would guard. I think I'd go for the steal of 2 instead of set myself up for a double takeout for the loss. If you put that rock too close, I think you're just setting yourself up for the double kill. Or even a hit and stick would, cut you down. And they only need to, red only needs either to hold you to 1. They don't even need to score here.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think I would guard.
I think the tap just has to be too perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to get it dead buried behind the 2 guards. And,
I like the guard here. We'll see what they throw.
I think the guard just forces you. I mean, the other, the tap is a much more difficult shot for
Whichever you call, you've
the
got to
red
make
skip to
at
make,
this
but-
point. You're in a position to try to steal. This is your last rock coming down. Team Gardner. It looks like they are throwing the guard. They got to just watch that line more than depth. Looks like it's going to be a nice spot if it stays out there. All right, good shot. Pretty good. So Red's going to draw. Both of those yellow rocks are in the 4-foot. They're, in as good a position as they can be in. And now it's up to the other skip to either cut them down or draw in for one.
See if Orso churns. I thought I saw them calling for a timeout, but maybe they didn't.
They might have just stopped their clock and weren't waiting for consult. That
Yeah.
could be, if that is indeed the case. I'm on my feet here. This is such an exciting shot. The red rock is away. Sweepers are on it pretty much right away. The skip is coming out to sweep as well. It looks pretty light. They've got to work very hard to get this here. They are dragging it. They got to drag it all the way into the 4-foot, and they are
Gotta be
not
full
going to get
4.
there. So that is a steal of 2, which gives us a tie game out on sheet D. Our bonus curling is getting extra exciting.
Double bonus curling.
Double bonus curling. Okay, so they're going to have I think it's still just a 1-minute dead time between ends, and they'll be changing the clocks to reflect however much time they get for an extra end, which I don't recall, but I'm going to go look. I'll be right back. This is FL. I'm back. I snuck a peek over the timer's shoulder, and it looks like each team gets 4 minutes and 30 seconds of thinking time for their extra end. They all each get 1 timeout as well. It looks like their coaches are out talking to them between ends. Maybe they get 3 minutes. For some reason, I thought it was still 1, but it's been 4 or 5 years since I've officiated. I'm kind of out of date. So they've got snacks and they've got a coach. All good things. Okay, so the teams are consulting with their coaches, having a little refresher snack, and figuring out their strategy. Of course, Team Gardner, having stolen 2 to force this extra end, is going to have to throw first. So Red's going to have hammer here. And we'll just see who gets out of this contest in the winning position. It's quite a game. The mood in the warm room is electric. Or possibly that's just static electricity. It's cold and dry. No, I think it's electric. There's a lot of people with some vested interest here in these junior curlers that are all out here vying to go to nationals. I'm going to see if there's any exciting paperwork on this desk about any of these other teams. I think I might just have the stuff from the ladies right now. Let's see. I'll take a look. Wow, they have a longer break than I expected. Oh, hey, I found some stuff. Let's see what we got. I'm enjoying Caleb Gartner's questionnaire answers. I don't see the rest of his team or the opposition team, but I found the skip of Team Gartner. Doesn't seem fair to disclose all his information since I can't disclose stuff from the other guys on the teams. So I will probably let it ride. But I did enjoy reading it. It's pretty funny. Some really
I
good
think we should
answers.
share some of it. I mean,
Okay, maybe. they're very good. Thank you, Caleb. They're very. I appreciate the information. Caleb Gartner curls out of the Cape Cod Curling Club, and he's got lots of good stuff on here.
He's a Joe Biden creative fiction story writer.
And he also likes to eat a lot of food, which explains some of the snacks. No, that's all the junior curlers. They all like their snacks, and I don't blame them. They burn
work
a
hard
lot of
out there.
energy at that age. He does disclose that whenever curling comes on TV, he falls asleep, although sometimes he says he falls asleep on the ice too. I would say not in this game. It's too exciting for that.
No, I don't think he's falling asleep for this one.
Nope.
He ran 14 miles on Sunday.
That's a lot of running.
Yeah, I'd say he's in pretty good shape. It looks like he's on the Falmouth High School running team.
Yep, runs 3 seasons. All right, so now we got our curlers retaking the ice. In this, our bonus curling on sheet D. This is the 9th end, which is an extra end. These were scheduled for 8 ends, but when you're tied, you keep on playing. Team Gartner has to throw first. They're throwing yellow. And Team Ausler-Charon is throwing red. I don't think I have a team roster handy, so I apologize. I don't know the names of everybody, but maybe we'll pull one up. Nice, okay. Very good. So that was Daniel who was throwing lead for Team Gartner. And Michael is throwing lead for Team Ausler-Charon.
Yeah, gotta go.
Ben is my all-resource technical guru here today. He's swinging cameras for your viewing pleasure, pulling up stats and intel, shuffling papers, entertaining children. He's doing it all. Organizing volunteers left and right. Thanks, Ben. You're doing a great job.
You volunteers, and I mean, it's easy to make you look good, I felt.
Uh-huh. All right, Daniel throwing his second lead stone. He may be small in stature, but these lead stones are critical, especially since you're trying to steal again for the win this time instead of the extra end. It looks like he's putting up some fine stones. This one does go into the house. They've taken it right at the back of the top 12. Well, it's the top 12. It's the back of the top of the 12. You know, sometimes I think people who aren't curlers have no idea what we're talking about. All right, so
Makes perfect sense to curlers.
it
though.
does. So Michael throws his second stone with a bit more force. They were thinking of taking that yellow one out, but it looks like it hung out there just a little wide. Caleb is wasting no time calling for a guard, center line guard, to protect their shot rock and jam up the middle because they're trying to steal.
Boy, I have found myself in this situation before, where you've got the hammer and either coming home or in the extra end, and all you want is a clean end,
And what you get is not.
and what you get is not.
So this was Nicholas who was throwing second on Team Gartner. It looks like this is curling a little more than they had in mind, but it's also a little deeper than they called for. So they're going with plan C, it looks like. It might stick around in the back, might go through. All right, it's going to be a backbiter. Well, that's also a steal in-house, stuff in the back. Well, it's pretty far back there. All right, they're going to try again for this hit. This time, Jeffrey's up to bat. Jeff Furin throwing second for Hausler Cherins.
It's got a lot of weight on this.
Does. They're calling the sweepers off. Never, never. He made good, solid contact. His shooter rolls out as well, but he did clear that top stone. Caleb says, oh, let's put it back. Seems like it was something that was a good spot. So they're calling it as narrow. I think he was a little narrow. So they swept hard to hold it out. Now they're going to sweep it some more for weight. And they're going to drag it in. Not quite. Drag it to just in front of the house. It's actually a really nice centerline guard, really tight to the house. I think they wanted to bite, but still in a good spot. The fourth red rock of this end.
Jeffrey, you're not supposed to call for line. Yeah, you did.
All right, so they cleared the top guard. Caleb's going to continue to cover things up the middle there. Signaling for the top 12 foot, and if it buries, that's okay.
This is the third William Gerlach. Will Gerlach.
Good communication. The skip calling out, we need a 5-6. And the sweeper's jumping on it.
A little bit of a slip there.
Yep.
He's
But
okay. Doesn't look like he burned it.
doesn't look like he hurt himself or burned. Stone the burn. That's something we try to avoid here. All right, so they didn't get it into the house, but they did put up another guard, which is great. Great for them. Nice centerline guards there. Little offset. Now Jackson says, well, let's use this. Let's utilize the fortress that's been built. They're going to try to draw behind those two centerline guards and tuck a rock in there. I think that's a great call.
Yeah, if you get in first here, put yourself in a nice, easy position to
maintain.
Get your one.
So these guys are sweeping hard pretty much the whole way. And even the skip's coming out to help, it looks like. Ooh, just wicked off the top.
Guard does a job. I'm not sure if that was the right weight to do what he needed either. But
No, it seemed a little heavy with as much as it moved that guard.
yeah.
Although they did sweep it the whole way for that line, so dragged it a bit further. Of course, as we all know that are experienced curlers, you're going to do two things simultaneously. When you sweep, it's going to take the rock further than it was going to go and keep it going straighter in the direction it was already going.
Gardner's seen enough of that in-turn line, or the out-turn line. He's now going for the in-turn line.
Sure. And it is curling quite a bit here. Puts up another guard. Again, taking control of the top center of this house. I approve of this strategy. I'm a fan of stealing. I find it a little more fun than taking. Maybe it's the challenge, or maybe it's just the way my mind works.
Michael, just clean, just clean. Make sure it's enough to get past.
All right, the vice stone is away.
Yeah, hard.
Vice stones are being thrown by Elijah. That's a pretty good throw. It's not quite buried, but it's tucked like half buried.
Gardner should be able to see a piece of it. The question is whether he'll be able to get across the nose of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure that.
I
Not
see
sure
that.
they're lining it up for that.
I see that Daniel is holding the broom, so he's vicing but throwing lead, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think you're correct.
Just because the normal order would be to throw vice rocks and vice, that doesn't mean you have to. You can throw and do each roll in whatever order suits you, so long as it's been declared in advance.
It's on the card already. No, it's not. Wait. Okay, now it is.
Sounds like it's on the guard.
Dude. All right, so that red rock is better buried. Those offsetting yellow guards are covering up pretty well right now. The officials are keeping a close eye on the proceedings. All right, so this is the first of the red skip stones. Of course, they do have the hammer. So Jackson is throwing his. Looks like it's going to be another guard, which makes sense because they're sitting shot. They got in first, like we talked about, and then they were able to protect it.
It's hard to see from the angle on the camera, but I think they did cover it up just a bit more. But that is a high guard.
Yep. It's hard to see from this angle on the ice, too. Of course, we're situated very much at the center of the ice, kind of between sheets B and C. So looking to our right to sheet D, it's kind of hard for us to see that angle, but I agree. I think that is lined up to give just a little bit more shadow of protection there. Caleb has one stone here to do something to get into shot position. Looks like he's going to try to draw behind cover, try to get closer. He's going to have to be full four behind cover, or at least full four shot.
He's going to be biting. He's got to be biting button, I think.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're right. That's a little closer than I thought it was. I hear lines perfect out there. So the sweepers are going for weight. They're all three sweeping to try to drag this in, drag it into position. And it doesn't look like it's going to quite get there.
Doesn't make the house.
Okay.
So That'll be
So
hat tricks.
that's game over. Red does not have to throw their last rock. They will score 1 in the extra end. So we got a little bit of extra curling there, but Team Ausler Sharons is able to make use of the fact that they had the hammer in the extra end and pull a win out of this 8-7 in 9 ends. Thank you again for joining us from the Potomac Curling Club for the U18 GNCC Championships. There is another draw this afternoon and again this evening, so please do keep an eye out for your notifications for when the live stream goes up, or the YouTube feed starts live. You can watch the rest of the matches. We're going to continue to feature games on Sheet B, and we will look forward to seeing you then. Thank you so much for joining us.